if you're the Milwaukee Bucks, that's super local, right? Like those people live in Wisconsin, or at least part time in their lives. Their family is back home in Wisconsin. Their friends, their community, their neighborhoods, the places they went to, the people they've seen, right? Right. So there's a lot of people affected, right? The entire organization. Um, Boycotts, the thing that I always struggle with is I think about how great of a platform that can continue to be used for the adverse, right? To actually get out there and continue to reach people and send your message, right? You think about, I think there was something like 14 million people listening to LeBron James post game message after game 4, right? So that's 14 million more individuals that get a chance to feel that message and feel his tone. And I actually thought that Adam Silver would have canceled games in general, just out of the strength of what's going on. And once there was even talk of Boston and Toronto, I didn't even think it would even happen. And it's unfortunate, man. I'm at a loss for words, mostly because I walk outside every single day and I think about the things that we got to go through as a culture and as a community. Not just myself, but I just think about any African American, any individual of color, whether you're Haitian, to me, it doesn't matter, right? We all deal with pretty significant disadvantages, and I'm sure we'll touch on some of them in a lot. And people can be in denial all they want, but it's the reality. And my heart goes out to those kids, man. Those kids that was in the back of that car, man, and seeing their father is paralyzed now, right? Is I can't even imagine the fear, the anguish. It's tough, man. As a parent, you know, I remember saying I didn't want a son because of how complex I thought raising an African American kid in our country could be. And I got a son coming in November, and it's like, man, I'm terrified. As a father, from a leadership perspective, as a parent, it's terrifying, dude. So, sorry for the long answer, man, but it's a lot.
Listen, man, take your time. I'm not that doesn't matter. And as you eloquently said, it's fearful. I don't have any kids now, but I do have you individuals. You guys are my brothers. I have cousins. I have real brothers. I have nieces, nephews, godchildren that consistently every day you pray for.
Every day.
Every day. Travis, what are your thoughts on the Bucks deciding to boycott this game today?
Well, first I want to send out my prayers to Jacob Blake and his family. To hopefully they can get through this time. But I know sometimes I get a little long winded, but bear with me.
Of course.
This today will make the exception for you, man. Today
I appreciate it. But for as long as I can remember, as long as I've loved sports has always been a place for me to escape, a place of peace. Come game day, I looked forward to those 3 hours of simplicity in life where everything else from the outside world didn't matter. All that mattered was, dominating the person in front of you. And I looked forward to it every Saturday. But I applaud the NBA because, you know what? I know at the beginning of this, they didn't want, a lot of players had hesitation of going into the bubble because they didn't want to be distracted from what was going on outside in the real world. But you know what? I'm glad that they decided to sit here and say, I don't know if I can say this one, but F your entertainment. Like this is not, we all love sports for the distraction, but that's not what we need right now. Right now, we need to feel the feels. We need to see this. We need to have people aware of this. The sports, those 3 hours of peace and comfort that we were going to get from watching the game tonight, no, we don't need that. Feel this. Watch this. See what's going on out here. Let this be at the front of your mind all the time right here, that the change needs to happen, that these things are going on out here in the world. And I just have to commend, especially the Bucks, because like Paul stated, this is close to them right there. This is their community. So it was to see, because I know we heard reports of, what was it, Boston and who else was?
Toronto.
Remember? Toronto, they were thinking about doing it, but the Bucks came out of left field with this because we didn't hear any reports about them at least I didn't until it happened. So I commend them because, and I know Paul said he
sorry, just breaking news. All teams have boycotted officially. That's the word I'm getting now. All teams have decided to boycott
and
officially.
I'm here for it because like I know Paul stated that he thought Adam Silver would have canceled the games. I think this is more of an impact. I think if it came from the players coming out there saying, no, we're not stepping on this court. We will not be the ones to sit here and distract you from what's going on. We are not here to just entertain you. You need to understand what is going on and what is affecting people that look like us in our communities. And for that, I commend them because I feel like if it had came from Adam Silver and the league, it would have felt more like an approved thing. Like it would have felt more official, and I feel like the impact would have been less. No, this is it. I feel like this is the way they should have went about it. And I know I give the NBA a lot of slack all the time because I'm an NFL guy, and I just know the NFL would never do this. And so for that, I can probably sit here and say, you know what? I'm happy that the NBA did this, man. And this is just something that we needed. This is something we needed.
Rick, what are your thoughts, man? Your first thing that came to mind when you saw that text or tweet that the Bucks decided to boycott the game?
So a couple of great points made already. One of the things I wanted to touch up on Adam Silver, exactly what Travis said. I feel like I appreciate the fact that he did make it his call, to kind of piggyback off of Travis's point there is, he let the players have that power to make that choice and decide what they wanted to do in this moment, which is great, especially considering the fact that their whole thing coming in was that, them coming back to play wouldn't distract and wouldn't muzzle them from being able to speak their minds and say what they feel about these things that are going on. So this is, the NBA and Adam Silver saying, we told y'all we were going to be okay with this. We're okay with this. Y'all don't want to play tonight, then we ain't playing, So letting it be their decision is huge. That's powerful. That's number one. Number two, Doc, first, MVP mentioned about being a parent, to a boy specifically, to a black boy, So I have a son, so y'all know what it is, Doc touched me last night, man, for real. Like when he said what he said, as far as, how many white fathers have to have that conversation with their sons about how to react or how to act when they're in any type of engagement with a police officer, that touched me in my soul, man. Like it's crazy that those are the types of conversations that people who look like us have to have nonstop over and over again. And, we keep seeing it over and over and over again. And it's like, again, each time for me, the thing that kills me inside is that you just seen it go down a couple months ago. How can you carelessly let it go down again? You just seen it go down 6 months before that. And then here comes the next episode, a year before that. And then here comes the next episode. It's like, it doesn't make sense. You would think at a certain point, some of these trigger happy cops, and I'm talking to those trigger happy cops. That's another thing everybody needs to understand. We're not talking to all cops. It's not about all cops. It's these trigger happy cops that something has to be done. And the fact that they keep seeing it happen over and over again, like you would think they wouldn't want to be the next contestant on that Summer Jam screen. You know what I mean? But yet here it is, just carelessly whipping out that piece and bop, 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 bop. Answer, you'll answer to somebody, maybe not later, So it's just absolutely ridiculous. And I think the biggest message that I get from the players when this comes down to it is like, we are watching, as far as the players are saying from their point of view, it's like the country is watching people who look like them get killed in the middle of afternoon on live TV at 3, 4, 5 in the afternoon. You know what I mean? If you are gonna not get angry about that and just change the channel, don't pull up at 7:30 to see me dribble a basketball, man. Don't pull up to see me drain a three. Don't pull up to hope I close out a series, So that message is loud and clear now. So I appreciate that from the entire league.
We have some tweets coming in. Special shout out to Andres Rivas. He's sending them to me as they come in. Donovan Mitchell, we demand change. Salute. Jamal Murray demand justice. A lot of players, even LeBron tweeting, F this man, we need to take a stand. Do we think the other leagues will take stand? Will this be a ripple effect? Because as we saw, the NBA is normally the leader in the forefront for social advocacy. Could this possibly trickle down to the other sports, to the NFL, to the MLB, to the NHL? Does that have enough strength in numbers that it could go on? And we know athletes communicate with each other, their friends. Could this go on to the other leagues? JJ?
There's a strong possibility that it could. I feel like NBA, as you mentioned, it's usually at the forefront of these progressive things. It's more or less the liberalized sport, and basically everything that's more or less trickles down. It probably wouldn't be the same fashion. Clearly, NFL, they more or less had their campaign, with Black Lives Matter. They had that commercial, and Roger Goodell, had a laissez-faire kind of vibe to him. But Adam Silver has put his foot in everything in regards to basically trying to promote and help and benefit his players. But yeah, I think that, NFL will follow suit eventually. MLB, they have no other choice to at this point. But I think that all of those sports will eventually fall in line.
I don't know, man. I'm gonna tell you why. I'm disappointed to be a Yankee fan, right? I mean, they're playing 2 games today, right? I mean, they're playing as we speak. Fortunately for the NFL, who gets a lot of bad rep, the NFL does a lot to try to do the right thing. I know the cap thing didn't work out, right? From the media eyes, it wasn't a good look. But the NFL, on their end, it's training camp. So they could easily cancel a practice. They could have these meetings. They can do a lot of things within, their own circle that we'll never even hear about, right? Because they're not in season right now. And they won't be for another, I think, 15 days or so is when the opening kickoff is. NHL, I don't think it's going to happen. They're in the playoff. I just don't see it. And Major League has never made the right moves, right? When you think about culture, community, they've never, ever, I've never heard the MLB doing anything gracious. I guess 9/11, sadly, was the only time we've ever seen the MLB make the right move. I do think the soccer leagues actually internationally have taken a huge leap, and even from a personal perspective, I've become a fan by just seeing how the soccer leagues locally, internationally have moved and have joined forces, and whether it was with supporting Kobe and even the same thing we're seeing with the whole Black Lives Matter movement. So I give them a lot of credit. I got faith in them for doing the right thing, but as a baseball fan, I don't see it, bro.
It's one of those those nuanced things, right? Because you have the clout, NBA has that clout of you're going to do the right thing or more or less close to it. MLB, they may do something that is I wouldn't say it's similar, but whatever they do, they have to do what's best for the players.
But you know what it is too, right? The NBA is our people, right? It's led, dominated, even though front offices isn't our people. The NBA has always been the players' game, unlike the
they have that power,
right? So if LeBron say he ain't playing or Russell Westbrook say, nah, we ain't playing, then hey, we ain't playing, right? But when you think about baseball, I don't want to say it, but they ain't really affected the way we affected. You know what I'm saying? Soccer guys get it, right? The guy who was from the slums in Haiti just kicking around a rock trying to make it to the next level. I seen somebody redo a Drake commercial, I think in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Laugh now, cry later. They made their own Nike apparel. It was one of the coolest things I've ever seen go viral. But that's real life in other countries, dude. And it's those kids, man, they ain't really affected, bro. Things happen every day. And it's just, you've never seen the MLB speak up and step to the forefront, issue the right statements. You've never seen that, bro. And that's unfortunate, but look at the Yankees. I don't even think they have an African American in the organization, let alone on the field, in the organization, right? So when you think about the shit going on in our city, dude, even in New York, business as usual for the Yankees. They're on the Yes Network right now, and they're down 4-0, right? And that's what's unfortunate. A powerful message would have been halt the game, suspend the rest of the day. Let's follow the right lead, but I don't see it.